In business, power isn't about titles or force, it's about influence. Most people chase power, but the smartest people chase influence. Power can be taken away, but influence, that stays with you for life. The kind of influence that makes people listen, trust, and take action without being pushed. Today, we're diving into 17 powerful lessons that will show you how to earn respect, inspire loyalty, and create success that lasts a lifetime.
Lesson 1. Listen deeply. If you want to influence someone, whether it's convincing a client, leading a team, or even inspiring a friend, you have to start by truly listening. This means giving them your full attention without interrupting, checking your phone, or thinking about what you'll say next. Deep listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about noticing how those words are spoken, the emotions behind them, and even what's not being said. For example, a client might say, "I'm just looking at options right now." But their tone and hesitations might reveal they're actually frustrated with their current provider and ready for a change. When you listen this way, people feel valued and understood, and that's the moment when influence begins. Why? Because human beings are more likely to trust and follow someone who gets them. Once you understand their real needs, problems, or dreams, you can speak directly to those things instead of guessing. Think of it like a doctor. The best doctors don't prescribe medicine before they ask questions and listen carefully to the patient's symptoms. In business, your prescription, your advice, offer, or idea, will only be effective if you first diagnose the real situation by listening deeply. At last, deep listening builds trust. Trust builds connection, and connection opens the door to influence.
Lesson 2. Trust is the true currency of business. In business, money changes hands, but trust is what makes it possible in the first place. Without trust, deals collapse, partnerships break, and customers walk away. You can have the best product, the flashiest marketing, and the smartest team, but if people don't believe you'll deliver on your promises, they won't stick around. Trust isn't built overnight. It's earned through consistent actions over time. It's keeping your word, meeting deadlines, admitting mistakes, and putting the customer's interest ahead of short-term gain. It's being honest even when the truth might cost you in the moment, because people remember integrity longer than they remember discounts. Think of trust like a bank account. Every time you deliver on a promise, you make a deposit. Every time you lie, cut corners, or disappoint, you make a withdrawal. If the balance ever goes negative, rebuilding it takes far more effort than maintaining it in the first place. The most successful businesses, whether it's a neighborhood coffee shop or a global brand, don't just sell products, they sell reliability. That's why customers return without hesitation, recommend them to friends, and even pay more because they know they won't be let down. At last, in business, trust is worth more than gold. Lose it, and you lose the game. Protect it, and success will follow you naturally.
Lesson 3. Stories outlive statistics. Numbers can impress, but stories are what people remember. You might tell someone your business grew by 200% last year, but in a week, that number will fade from their memory. However, if you share a story about the one customer who took a chance on you, saw amazing results,
and change their life in the process. They'll remember it for years. Stories connect with people on an emotional level. They paint a picture, spark the imagination, and make complex ideas easy to understand. When you tell a story, you're not just giving information. You're giving the listener a mental image they can carry with them. Great leaders, marketers, and entrepreneurs know this. Steve Jobs didn't just announce the iPod as a device with 5 GB of storage. He said, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's storytelling. It transforms a fact into a vision. The human brain is wired for stories. Long before we had spreadsheets and graphs, we learned about the world through tales around a fire. That instinct hasn't changed. If you want your message to stick, wrap it in a story that makes people feel something: hope, excitement, curiosity, even urgency. At last, facts inform, but stories inspire. Statistics tell the what, but stories tell the why, and make your message unforgettable.
Lesson 4. Speak to their needs, not your ego. One of the fastest ways to lose influence is to make the conversation all about you, your achievements, your product, your opinions. The truth is, people are not tuned into your personal radio station. They're tuned in to WIIFM, What's in it for me? When you speak to someone's needs, you shift the focus from yourself to them. That means understanding their problems, goals, and desires before you pitch an idea or solution. If you can show how what you offer fits into their life, solves their problem, or helps them achieve their dream, they'll pay attention. Think of it this way. If you were selling umbrellas, bragging about how your company won a design award means little compared to simply saying, "This umbrella will keep you dry during the heaviest storm, and it won't flip inside out in the wind." The first is ego-driven. The second is customer-driven. Even in leadership, the same rule applies. A boss who constantly says, "Here's what I want," will lose the room. A leader who says, "Here's how this will make your job easier and help you grow," earns the respect and action. At last, influence grows when people see you as someone who helps them win, not someone trying to prove you're the smartest in the room.
Lesson 5. What's rare becomes irresistible. Human nature is wired to value what's scarce. When something is hard to get, our brains automatically assign it more importance. This is why limited edition products sell out fast, why VIP access feels special, and why people chase opportunities that might disappear tomorrow. Scarcity creates urgency. If people believe they can get something at any time, they'll put off the decision. But if they know it's limited, whether in quantity, time, or access, they're far more likely to act now. Businesses use this principle all the time. Only 3 left in stock. Offer ends tonight. Or enrollment closes in 24 hours. But scarcity only works if the thing you're offering is genuinely valuable. Fake scarcity, pretending something is rare when it's not, can destroy trust, and once trust is gone, influence fades fast. You can also use scarcity in leadership and personal branding. If your time, skills, or opportunities are presented as highly selective, people perceive you as more valuable. Being available to everyone all the time can make you seem ordinary, but being intentional about when and how you engage makes your presence feel significant. At last, the less accessible something is, the more people want it. True influence means making your value rare enough to be respected, but real enough to be trusted.
Lesson 6. The crowd's belief shapes individual choice. People like to think they make decisions independently, but in reality, most choices are influenced by what others are doing. If everyone around you is raving about a new restaurant, you'll want to try it. If you see a product with thousands of positive reviews, you'll trust it more. This is called social proof, the invisible pull of the crowd. In business, social proof is a powerful tool. Testimonials, case studies, user numbers, celebrity endorsements, and even long lines outside a store all send the same message as, "Other people trust this, so you should too." It reduces risk in the buyer's mind, because if many people approve, the choice feels safer. But there's a flip side. Crowd influence works in both positive and negative directions. If the crowd is critical, skeptical, or disengaged, individuals are likely to follow that energy. That's why protecting your reputation and public image is crucial. Once the crowd turns against you, rebuilding trust takes significant time. Smart leaders and marketers create moments where the crowd's approval is visible. This could be showcasing client wins on social media, highlighting how many customers you've served, or hosting events where excitement spreads organically. At last, people look to others to decide what's safe, smart, or popular. Win the crowd, and individuals will follow.
Lesson 7. Write your opening chapter. In business and life, people form an opinion about you within seconds, sometimes before you even speak. That first impression acts like the opening chapter of a book. It sets the tone for everything that follows. If the beginning feels strong, people are more likely to keep reading. A first impression isn't just about appearance, it's also about energy, body language, and presence. A confident smile, good posture, and eye contact can communicate warmth and competence before a single word leaves your mouth. The way you greet someone, the tone of your voice, and how attentively you listen all send powerful signals. In business settings, first impressions happen in meetings, pitches, networking events, and even online, through your emails, website, or social media profile. A sloppy handshake or a disorganized presentation can plant seeds of doubt that are hard to erase. The good news? First impressions are within your control. Preparation, authenticity, and attention to detail can make sure your opening chapter grabs attention in the right way. At last, you never get a second chance at a first impression, so make the first one strong, intentional, and unforgettable.
Lesson 8. Ask with respect. Command invites resistance. When you tell people what to do, their natural instinct is to push back, even if they agree with you. Humans value autonomy, and when they feel it's being taken away, they often resist just to prove they still have control. That's why influence works better when you ask instead of command. A respectful request invites cooperation, while a direct order can spark defensiveness. Saying, "Could you help me with this project?" feels very different from, "Do this project for me." The first builds goodwill, the second risks resentment. This principle is just as powerful in leadership as it is in sales or negotiations. Great leaders guide people to want to take action by explaining the why behind the request and showing how it benefits them or the bigger picture. When people feel they're part of the decision, they commit more fully. Of course, asking with respect doesn't mean being weak. It means being strategic. You can still be clear and firm about what's needed, but you frame it in a way that invites buy-in instead of rebellion. At last, you gain lasting influence not by forcing compliance, but by inspiring cooperation. Respect opens doors that commands slam shut.
Lesson 9. Hearts move before heads. Lead with emotion. Logic might convince people, but emotion is what moves them to act. Before we make a decision, we feel something: excitement, curiosity, urgency, trust, or even fear. The brain processes emotion faster than logic, which means people often decide with their hearts first and then justify with their heads later. In business, this is why the most successful brands don't just sell products, they sell feelings. Apple sells creativity and status, not just technology. Nike sells inspiration and achievement, not just shoes. Emotional connection makes a message stick, while cold facts alone often fade quickly. Leading with emotion doesn't mean ignoring logic. It means starting with a feeling that resonates. Whether you're giving a sales pitch, presenting to a team, or negotiating a deal, show them you understand their hopes, challenges, or fears. Make them feel that your solution is the right one, and then back it up with the facts. Even in leadership, this principle is powerful. A leader who inspires belief and confidence will win more loyalty than one who simply issues instructions. People follow those who make them feel valued, motivated, and understood. At last, win their hearts and their minds will follow. Influence begins with emotion, then is secured by reason.
Lesson 10. A small favor plants the seed of loyalty. One of the simplest ways to build strong relationships, whether in business or life, is to do something helpful without expecting anything in return. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes the smallest gesture, sharing advice, making an introduction, or solving a quick problem, can leave a lasting impression. This works because of a principle called reciprocity. When someone does something for us, we naturally feel inclined to give back. In business, that could mean a client choosing your services over a competitor's, a colleague supporting your ideas, or a partner going the extra mile when you need help. The key is sincerity. If your favor feels like a manipulation or a sales trick, people will see through it and lose trust. But when it's genuine, helping because you truly want to, loyalty grows naturally. Over time, these small deposits of goodwill can build a powerful network of allies who are eager to return the kindness. Think of it like planting seeds in a garden. Each small favor is a seed, and with time, care, and consistency, those seeds grow into long-term loyalty and support. At last, give first without keeping score, and you'll find that loyalty comes back multiplied.
Lesson 11. Silence speaks louder than rushed words. In conversations, most people feel an urge to fill every pause. But sometimes, silence is more persuasive than speaking. A well-timed pause can create tension, show confidence, and make your words carry more weight. When you stay silent after making a point or asking a question, you give the other person space to think, and often they'll reveal more than they intended. In negotiations, this can be especially powerful. If you state your offer and then remain silent, many people will feel uncomfortable and start talking, sometimes giving you the exact information or concession you need. Silence also signals self-control. Rushed, nervous speech can make you seem uncertain, while calm pauses suggest confidence and authority. Great communicators, from skilled salespeople to inspiring leaders, know when to let silence work for them. It's not about ignoring people or creating awkwardness. It's about using quiet moments strategically so your message can land and sink in. Words tell, but silence sells. At last, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all.
Lesson 12. Be the guide, not the hero. Help others win. Many people try to be the hero in every story. They want the spotlight, the credit, and the glory. But in business and leadership, real influence comes from being the guide, not the hero. The hero is the person facing the challenge. The guide is the one who helps them overcome it. Think about the greatest stories. In Star Wars, Luke Skywalker is the hero, but Yoda is the guide. In The Karate Kid, Daniel is the hero, but Mr. Miyagi is the guide. The guide's role is to provide wisdom, tools, and encouragement so the hero can succeed. In business, your customers, clients, or team members are the heroes of their own story. Your job is to understand their challenges and then give them the path to achieve their goals. When they win, you win, and they'll remember you as the person who made success possible. Guides don't compete for the spotlight, they shine it on others. This earns deep loyalty, respect, and long-term influence because people never forget those who help them rise. At last, stop trying to be the star of every story. Become the mentor who makes others the star, and you'll build influence that lasts.
Lesson 13.
Study your rivals. They are your unspoken teachers. Competitors aren't just threats, they're valuable sources of insight. Every rival in your industry is a free case study showing you what works, what fails, and where opportunities exist. Ignoring them means ignoring lessons that could save you time, money, and mistakes. By studying your rivals, you can spot patterns. What strategies bring them success? Where do they struggle? How do they communicate with customers? Sometimes their weaknesses reveal gaps you can fill. Other times, their strengths show you where you need to raise your game. This isn't about copying, it's about learning. You can adapt their best ideas to fit your unique style and avoid the costly errors they've already made. Even watching how they recover from failures can teach you resilience and adaptability. In war, the smartest generals don't just focus on their own troops. They also study the enemy's tactics, resources, and mindset. Business works the same way. Awareness of your rivals doesn't make you insecure, it makes you prepared. At last, your competitors can be your best teachers if you're wise enough to learn from them.
Lesson 14. Repetition turns ideas into truth. People rarely believe something the first time they hear it. But when they hear it repeatedly, especially from different angles or sources, it begins to feel familiar, and familiarity breeds trust. This is why advertising repeats slogans, politicians repeat messages, and great leaders repeat their vision. Our brains are wired to see repetition as a sign of reliability. The more often an idea shows up, the more it feels like a fact, even if it's just a perspective. This is called the near exposure effect, the tendency to prefer things simply because we've been exposed to them before. In business, you can use this by reinforcing your core message in multiple ways, through branding, customer conversations, presentations, and marketing campaigns. But the key is consistency. If your message changes constantly, people won't know what to believe. Repetition also works in leadership and team building. Reminding people of the goal, the values, and the mission keeps everyone aligned and motivated. The most inspiring leaders don't just say something once, they repeat it until it becomes part of the culture. At last, say it clearly, say it often, and say it consistently. Because what's repeated becomes remembered, and what's remembered becomes believed.
Lesson 15. Shift the frame, and you shift the outcome. The way a situation is framed, how it's presented, can completely change how people see it, feel about it, and respond to it. The facts may be the same, but the perspective changes everything. For example, telling a customer a product costs $1 a day feels very different from saying $365 a year, even though the price is identical. In negotiations, asking for a 10% partnership share might sound big, but calling it a modest stake to ensure we both win changes the emotional impact.
Framing works because people don't just respond to reality, they respond to how reality is described. A leader can frame a challenge as a problem and create fear, or as an opportunity and create excitement. Both might be true, but one inspires action, the other paralyzes. The best communicators consciously choose frames that lead to the result they want. They know that the right frame doesn't distort the truth, it brings out the most empowering angle of it. At last, change the way you present something, and you can change the way people react to it.
Lesson 16. Give before you ask. Value flows to the generous. In business and in life, the fastest way to build trust and influence is to give something of value before you ask for anything in return. This could be knowledge, resources, introductions, time, or even encouragement. When you lead with generosity, people are far more open to hearing your ideas and supporting your goals. This works because giving creates goodwill and establishes you as someone who's not just out for yourself. It signals confidence. You're not desperate for a quick return because you know value has a way of coming back. Think about it. The best salespeople don't start with, "Buy this." They start with, "Here's something that can help you right now." The best leaders don't just demand effort, they provide tools, clarity, and support first. The important part is sincerity. If your giving feels like a setup for a hidden agenda, it destroys trust. But when it's genuine, generosity becomes magnetic. People want to be around you, work with you, and say yes to you. At last, generosity plants the seeds of opportunity. Give first, and the returns will take care of themselves.
Lesson 17. Guard your name. It's your most powerful asset. In business and in life, your reputation is more valuable than any product, service, or skill you offer. Money can be regained, opportunities can come again, but once your name is damaged, it's hard, sometimes impossible, to restore it fully. Your name is built through countless small actions over time, showing integrity, honoring your word, treating people fairly, and delivering on promises. Every choice you make either adds to its strength or chips away at it. One dishonest move, one broken promise, or one careless mistake can undo years of trust. A strong reputation opens doors before you even knock. People recommend you, invite you into opportunities, and listen to you because they believe in your character. Conversely, a tarnished name closes doors quietly. You may never hear no directly, but the calls stop coming. Guarding your name means acting with integrity even when no one is watching, because eventually the truth always comes out. In a world where information spreads fast, protecting your reputation isn't just wise, it's survival. At last, your name is your legacy. Protect it as fiercely as your most valuable possession.
Conclusion: the art of business influence. True influence isn't about control. It's about understanding people, earning trust, and guiding them toward success. It starts with listening and speaking to their needs, not your ego. Trust becomes your currency, stories become your connection, and scarcity, social proof, and first impressions shape decisions. Respectful requests inspire more than commands. Emotions move hearts before logic, and small favors grow loyalty. Silence can speak volumes.
Guiding others creates loyalty, and even rivals can be teachers. Repetition cements ideas. Framing shapes outcomes. Generosity attracts opportunity, and your name is your most valuable asset. Influence built on integrity endures far longer than power built on fear. Influence lasts when it's built on trust, empathy, and integrity, because helping others win is the surest way to win yourself.